The ocean is a vast graveyard of secrets, some far older than humanity itself.
Captain! Captain, look at the scale. That's not a ship.
Down there, the light doesn't just fade, it's hunted. In the deep, pressure is the only law, and nothing built by man can withstand it. We look to the stars for monsters, while the true titans are watching. Don't move! If you can see it, it has already seen you.
300 million years ago, the world was ruled by living armor.
Even the fragments of their past are enough to remind us of our fragility. The surface is just a thin veil, and today, it's being torn apart. Some caves are not made of stone, but of bone and hunger. They left their mark on the world, a warning carved in stone. You don't hear them coming, you feel them in your soul.
When the sun goes dark underwater.
The data doesn't lie. They never left. They were just waiting for us to find them. Speed is their greatest weapon. Silence is their greatest lie.
10,000 meters deep. No way out. No light. Only them.
They don't just hunt. They dominate entire lineages.
Let's go back to when the seas ran red with the blood of the weak.
The Dunkleosteus, a predator that didn't need teeth because it had guillotines.
Engineered by evolution to crush anything that dares to swim.
Imagine a tank that never runs out of fuel. And it's hungry.
One snap. 5,000 pounds of pressure. Game over.
Even our strongest machines are but toys compared to the raw power of the Dunkleosteus.
Patience is a predator's greatest virtue, and this one has had millions of years to practice. Its life was a cycle of violence, a story written in scars on its own armor. In the dark, the Dunkleosteus is the only thing you should fear. Before the sharks were the kings, they were the prey. There is a terrifying beauty in absolute lethality. Armor cannot save you when the monster is the armor.
Don't breathe. Just back. Away.
Nature's perfect engineering. A guillotine that never misses. He returns to the shadows. But the shadows never forget him. He was never really gone, just waiting for the next era. Meet the Basilosaurus, the king of the Eocene, a whale that chose the path of the serpent. Look into its eyes. This is not a gentle giant. This is a cold-blooded killer. Legends of sea serpents began here, in the shadow of the Basilosaurus. The last remnants of a life on land. A memory of feet that once walked the earth.
Agility meets size. There is nowhere to hide from the Basilosaurus.
When the storm rages, the sea serpent rises.
The Basilosaurus doesn't just bite, it strikes like a cobra.
An endless nightmare sliding across the sun.
Those teeth were not meant to kill quickly. They were meant to hold you in the dark. It breathed the same air we do. But it was a demon of the deep. Beneath the playful smiles of today's oceans, the ghost of the Basilosaurus still haunts the bloodline. Descending into the abyss, the Basilosaurus returns to the nightmare from which it came.
It circled the shores, a living moat of absolute terror.
Every scar on the Basilosaurus tells a story of survival. Every look is a promise of death. A single strike, and the world goes white.
In the shallow waters of the Cretaceous, death hid in plain sight. Enter the Mosasaurus.
Once you enter the jaws of a Mosasaurus, those inner teeth ensure you never leave.
Even the skies belong to the Mosasaurus.
You think you're safe on the sand, but the Mosasaurus only needs a few feet of water.
50 feet of muscle propelled by a tail built for pure destruction. Not a fish, not a dinosaur. The Mosasaurus was a true sea dragon.
It watched. It waited. It calculated.
You didn't have to be bitten by the Mosasaurus. You were simply inhaled.
A king walking through its kingdom. The Mosasaurus commanded absolute respect.
Its very shadow was enough to clear the waters.
The Mosasaurus didn't hunt with grace. It hunted with absolute, catastrophic violence. Every movement of the Mosasaurus was a masterpiece of lethal evolution. Even at rest, the Mosasaurus looked like a loaded weapon. Against the Mosasaurus, even a shell like iron was useless.
There is no escaping the Mosasaurus.
Meet the Livyatan, a whale named after the biblical monster, and for good reason.
Teeth the size of human arms. The Livyatan was built to rip giants apart.
When the Livyatan and Megalodon met, the oceans shook.
The gentle giant glided through the golden underwater forest, a true masterpiece of nature.
Every mark on its skin tells a story of the ancient seas.
Unlike modern sperm whales, the Livyatan had upper teeth designed to tear, not just hold.
A Leviathan breathing the storm.
To be hunted by the Livyatan was to realize you were never safe.
The Livyatan could weaponize sound, stunning its victims in the pitch black. The Livyatan conquered the depths, dragging its prey into the eternal dark. The sheer crushing force of the Livyatan could shatter the thickest bones on Earth.
The king of the land was nothing compared to the Livyatan, the king of the sea. Even the Livyatan had moments of eerie, quiet grace. When the Livyatan fought, the ocean itself seemed to boil.
The Livyatan was not a mindless beast. It was calculating. It was cruel, the Livyatan, swimming through the fires of the deep. The Livyatan leaves nothing behind but white noise and terror.
Deep in the ancient trenches, nature experimented with pure, mechanical horror. The Helicoprion.
Not a jaw, but a biological buzzsaw. The Helicoprion carried a weapon unlike any other. Shells were useless. The Helicoprion simply shredded through armored defenses. In the darkest crevices, the thaw awaits. A creature that defied evolution. The Helicoprion was a walking paradox of the sea. Even carved in stone millions of years later, the Helicoprion commands absolute terror.
It didn't bite. The Helicoprion sawed its victims into pieces.
A shadow in the green deep. You know the Helicoprion by its terrifying silhouette.
When the Helicoprion locks onto you, there is no escape.
Humanity invented the saw, but the Helicoprion perfected it millions of years prior. A dormant nightmare. The Helicoprion resting in the abyss.
Born from the heat and the dark. The Helicoprion.
A conveyor belt of agony. To be caught by the Helicoprion is a fate worse than death. Modern predators flee. The ancient Helicoprion claims the throne. Spiral into the dark. Spiral into the Helicoprion. Enter the apex, the Kronosaurus. A beast where the head alone was an engine of destruction. No mercy, no hesitation. The eye of the Kronosaurus sees only prey.
A bullet made of flesh and bone. The Kronosaurus struck with devastating velocity.
The last thing you see is the absolute darkness of the Kronosaurus.
The Kronosaurus didn't just bite. It annihilated.
A shadow in the storm. The Kronosaurus rules the tempest.
These teeth didn't slice. The Kronosaurus crushed bones to dust. The tyrant of the reef. The Kronosaurus demanded absolute silence.
A nightmare silhouette. The Kronosaurus eclipsed the very sun.
Running is useless. The Kronosaurus has already decided your fate.
Steel means nothing. The Kronosaurus breaks all barriers. The Kronosaurus waits in the dark, a loaded, unexploded bomb. The trap snaps shut. The Kronosaurus claims its prize. Where the shadow of the Kronosaurus falls, life ends. Wiped away by the wrath of the Kronosaurus. From the endless sparkling blue emerges a creature of pure majesty, bringing peace to the open waters.
A bite marked the size of a bus. Only the Megalodon could do this.
Our technology cannot comprehend the scale of the Megalodon.
We think our ships are safe. The Megalodon proves they are just toys.
In the deepest dark, the Megalodon stares right back into your soul.
A single tooth the size of a human head, the Kong sanctuary genie.
The Megalodon does not fear the storm. It is the storm.
The sensors pick it up. A ghost frequency. The Megalodon signature.
Death rising from the abyss. The jaws of the Megalodon.
Ignorance is bliss. Just miles below the surface, the Megalodon waits.
Every movement in this underwater dance is perfectly balanced, a flawless display of natural elegance.
Every breath of the Megalodon draws in the freezing dark of the abyss. Our greatest machines are nothing but monuments in the graveyard of the Megalodon.
A fin like a sail. A warning from the deep that the Megalodon has arrived.
When the jaws of the Megalodon close, the world ends. We know nothing.
Beyond the reach of our light, the unidentified prehistoric sea monster waits in silence. Extinction is an illusion. The unidentified prehistoric sea monster never left.
Changed by the dark. The trench birthed a new kind of Megalodon.
Above, total peace. Below, the unimaginable scale of the unidentified prehistoric sea monster.
It doesn't want to be heard. The unidentified prehistoric sea monster silences our ears. When the Livyatan and the Megalodon share the dark, there is no hope for anything else.
The breath of the abyss. The unidentified prehistoric sea monster exhales.
In the reflection of your own fear, you see the Megalodon.
The geography is alive. The unidentified prehistoric sea monster shifts the earth.
They are not just surviving. The unidentified prehistoric sea monster is breeding.
A single bite to erase our presence. The unidentified prehistoric sea monster claims the surface.
Emerging from toxic depths, the Livyatan conquers even the underwater lakes of death.
Look into the abyss, and the unidentified prehistoric sea monster looks back. A warning left in titanium. The Megalodon does not tolerate intruders. The ocean opens its maw. The unidentified prehistoric sea monster feeds. You are not swimming in water. You are swimming in the shadow of the unidentified prehistoric sea monster.
It wants to see us as much as we want to see it. The unidentified prehistoric sea monster gets close.
The sun offers a false peace. Below, the unidentified prehistoric sea monsters await the night.
Dragged into the dark by the unidentified prehistoric sea monster. The bones of the unidentified prehistoric sea monster rest under the weight of the world. The ocean locks its doors. The secrets of the unidentified prehistoric sea monster are safe. We enjoy the shores only because the Megalodon allows it. We sail on top of their world, watched by the unidentified prehistoric sea monster. Armor, serpentine grace,
Twin rows of death, evolution's most brutal designs.
The Livyatan, the Helicoprion, the Kronosaurus, and the king, the Megalodon.
The abyss has many faces. Which unidentified prehistoric sea monster haunts you?
Uncover more secrets. Subscribe before the unidentified prehistoric sea monster returns.
The unidentified prehistoric sea monster leaves no trace behind. Escape the dark. Flee the unidentified prehistoric sea monster. Directions mean nothing in the domain of the unidentified prehistoric sea monster. The Megalodon fades to legend, but the ocean never forgets. A final echo in the dark. The unidentified prehistoric sea monster sleeps. Don't touch the water. The unidentified prehistoric sea monster is right there. The surface is calm, but now you know what the unidentified prehistoric sea monster hides below.